Grog.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Stylish Head podcast. I'm Matthew Weir and I'm joined by just Keri Warbis this week. Keri, random theatrics, all over the place performances, promises so much but never deliver. Could be the Archers.
Or something else beginning with AR, Matthew.
How are Arsenal getting on in the North London derby?
You absolute bastard. Really shit, thanks. Yeah, we've had a penalty, 2-0 down at half-time. It's currently 3-0 and we're down to 10 men. It's 74th minute, and they're just bringing on Tavares, who is shit.
There you go, Keri's fan channel coming next week. Keri Fan TV.
Oh.
We should do a post-match interview, like where you completely lose it, like they do on those YouTube channels.
Yeah.
That'd be excellent. We'll do that as an outtake.
Well, I went to see Northman at the cinema last night, and there's a lot of like guttural, primal screaming into the screen. So I could do some of that while sort of hacking at things with an axe.
So, I mean, when I originally found out that you were going to be recording tonight with one eye on the North London derby, I thought that might be happening on air anyway, and I would just be going like hell at the mute button when I did the edit. But it is, I mean, one thing, me, you and Peter, we are opposed in terms of our football teams, but we always join together in our loathing of Spurs.
Good.
It's one thing that unites us. Unfortunately, it just hasn't happened for you tonight. Well, not yet anyway. Who knows? You could be witnessing incredible scenes on air if they make a comeback.
Strange things happen. I mean, there's only 15 minutes to go now, and John Cooper in Sweden will be laughing his beautiful little head off at this.
Is that lovely John who's messaged us about the pod a couple of times?
Yeah, he's a Spurs fan. That's the worst thing about him.
Okay, well, the worst thing about this podcast is there's going to be an ad right now. Keri, quiche weirdness. That's where we started this week. I was a little baffled. I was not in the best physical and mental state on Sunday listening to this on the sofa, and I had a few theories about what was going on, but none of them, disappointingly, turned out to be true. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, it was wild, wasn't it? Quiche Charmaine and Summer Tang. Already, that made me go, piss off. Ridiculous.
What did Jill accidentally call them? Quiche Germain and the Ding Dang Dougal band or something?
Something twang, wasn't it? She was dead keen, bless her, to get both of those quiches home so she didn't have to cook for one time in her life. So that was nice for Jill. But this whole Fallon being secretive about ingredients, it's going to be something really dull, isn't it, that she put in that she wanted to surprise everyone with. What will it be? It's got to be something as well that was in jars that were unlabelled. And if they weren't clear jars, which you'd think they would be, so you could sort of see the difference between the things that are on your shelf.
I reckon Harrison's misplaced the key to the evidence cupboard down at the cop shop, and Fallon's got some fine product on the shelves. I don't know, because that's what I thought, was that she'd either put some kind of CBD stuff in there or something a little bit more psychoactive, some crazy mushrooms. There was a lot of panic.
Yeah, we were hoping that, but Jill sort of said, is it harmful? And she went, oh, no, not harmful at all. And that was devastating. I really wanted it to be some sort of terrible hallucinogenic mushrooms.
A dead giveaway would have been got round there and Jill was listening to Inagada Davida by Iron Butterfly with like a red light bulb on. You'd have known what was happening. But
yeah, getting all her Gong albums out.
Yes. But as it turned out, it was a happy accident.
Oh, God.
There's a secret ingredient to her bread and butter pudding, which nobody knows.
Fanny batter.
He plays for Darrington Seniors, doesn't he?
Does he? You can't say batsman, you have to say batter. That's one of Tracy's mantras. And I was like, ooh, batter. Whenever I hear the word batter, my ears prick up, whatever the situation, really.
Coming up to the crease, Fanny batter.
We're so bloody base, aren't we?
We are a bit.
Can't help it.
But luckily, this gave Fallon a wonderful idea to bring peace and unity to the village. A pudding. Well, Tony thought it might be a pudding eating competition because he's a fuckwit.
A greedy fuckwit.
Yes.
A sugar-fixated, greedy fuckwit.
The thing is, he'd been nowhere near in training for a pudding eating competition because he's got a tiny bowl, hasn't he?
He has got a tiny bowl, and also he's not very fit and agile and fast either, is he? Because Pat ran him out, which caused great consternation.
So yeah, no, he wouldn't be too good at the eating competition. Luckily, it's not an issue for him because it's best new pudding. Oh my god, can I even be bothered to even remember what this was? Everyone's gonna create a new pudding, and children are gonna judge it. Initially, to Jill's disappointment, because she was really selling herself as wise, sage, and knowledgeable in that area. But now it's just kicked off between all the parents. It's like being on the side of an under-12s football game, isn't it? They're all fighting with each other.
Yeah, competitive dads and what have you.
Isn't part of seeing an ad first and getting in part of the process?
I hate it all. I hate it. The whole fucking thing. Honestly, I absolutely cannot bear that every sodding week there's a competition of some sort in this stupid village.
But you know that this is true to life, don't you? I mean, I've shown you how it's just like a carousel of events in villages in the country. Like when I think about where friends of mine live and family live, it never ends.
Yeah.
It's like a theatre production or a dance.
What's wrong with these people? Don't they have TVs and books and, cinemas?
They do have TVs. They lay them flat on the floor and they dance on them.
Whilst eating pudding. The only thing I wrote about this whole thing was, isn't pudding a brilliant word?
It's used in Portuguese quite a lot, but it's Pudim, which is pudding, and it's like a. I'll send you a photo. I can't give it. It's like a big panna cotta style syrup ring cake. That sounds terrible.
Boy, come on.
What have I done? So who was in the running? Who didn't make the cut? And who's angry? So we've got Henry has been, because Lee showed up.
Yeah.
After all the places have been filled, and Lee was kind of just there like going, are you going to break the heart of a young boy whose dream it is to work in the kitchen? I was like, what? Haven't you thought about taking him round to your brother-in-law's place? And Ian can't now, can he?
Yeah. Also, if he wants to be, he's got a burgeoning desire to be a cook, wouldn't he rather be cooking than judging? I missed the bit about it's kids only judging. I thought they were going to get the kids to make the puddings.
No, that was the thing where Jill was saying, it should be someone old and wise, and Fallon was like, well, quite the opposite, actually. And she had this idea that it was going to be, I was talking as fast as Gove on Breakfast TV then. Sorry, Fallon. But yeah, she came up with this opposite idea that it's going to be much more fun to have kids officiate.
Right, so Jill can make her stupid pudding and a child will judge the stupid pudding. Is this...
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be
people will get very excited about the pudding. Has it got to be a pudding that no one has ever seen before? Is this the thread from the creative accident quiche thing?
Yeah, I once read an interview with a scientist when I was in my early teens, and it blew my mind, that said that the concept of what alien life looks like is probably so beyond the comprehension of the human mind that they will never look like we imagine them to look, and we can't begin to envisage it. And I'm hoping that's what happens with these puddings.
Yeah, has anything not been done before in pudding world? I suppose so.
Yeah, I did work with a guy in Australia that made a tomato as a dessert, but he kind of just stuffed it with kind of fruit mince and stuff like that. It didn't really
Fruit
work.
what?
Fruit mince, like the stuff that you put in mince pies.
Oh, this sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it was a bit of a failed experiment, as I recall. He put it on the menu for a couple of weeks with basil ice cream, and no one ordered it, and then he took it off again.
Oh, piss off. This is like those people who go on MasterChef and try to be really edgy and basically just fuck it up by going one step too far, don't they? By, getting creative in inverted commas. But, as Jill said, crepe Suzette was made this way.
Yeah, the Eton mess was apparently created because, well, it's mixed opinion, isn't it? Did someone's dog get into the picnic basket or did someone sit on it? But it was originally all separate. The meringue, the whipped cream and the fruits, and it all got mixed together as a result.
I'm not a fan of meringues. They're a bit they make your teeth go funny if they're that hard, crispy stuff. I only like it when it's a bit gooey and chewy.
Okay, maybe you should be judging this. Have you ever had that competitive child thing go? I wouldn't imagine you've done it, I mean, I'd imagine you to be defensive of your children, but have you ever had other like parents of kids come at you over competition they might be in or something like this?
Oh, my kids aren't that competitive, thank God. So, and nor am I. I'm trying to think. My son did used to do the Sunday morning football stuff where we used to have to be at Eastbourne at 8 in the morning on a Sunday in the rain. And there were some competitive parents really shouting at referees who were about 12. It was all very unhealthy, really.
Yeah, I've seen a group of parents chase a quite portly referee across a pitch at Vassals Park at full time, and you keep going in Vassals Park. It's where they filmed Robin and Sherwood. He just disappeared into the trees. I was like, what are they going to do to him when they get hold of him? All the kids were left there going like, "Oh, Dad, I need to lift home." Yeah, it's a bit. People just lose their mind, don't they?
Yeah.
The WhatsApp groups of kids' football teams are apparently absolute gold.
Ooh, yeah, I bet. I was a creative accident.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. My mum got expelled from, I think it's teacher training college because she got pregnant pre-marriage in the 60s by accident. And then, because I can remember seeing my mum's wedding photographs and sort of looking at the date and thinking, hang on a minute. My birthday is...
Are you submitting your CV for the judging position? That's what it feels like, Keri. Because
Well,
Fallon said everything's gone. I'm afraid she had to let Ed down. Did Ed overreact a little bit?
of course, they're all overreacting. It's monstrous. I think Lee overreacted. That she should have just said, "Go away. We haven't chosen anyone yet," or something. I won't be influenced by anybody.
I thought we were going to find out Kira had been binned in place of Henry first of all, but I thought Ed was kind of. You've changed, Fallon. You do this to your old snot bandmate. They weren't called snot, were they? What were they called?
Oh, what was it? Grot? No.
Dross.
Dross, that's it.
Grot. Yeah. Snot, grot.
We got there in the end. I know that it's because Kira, at the end of last week's podcast, I sort of went, "Oh, I forgot, Kira, is that leading to something?" Because she'd got into a right huff, hadn't she? Because Henry had been invited to something when he doesn't even know the child and she hadn't been. So I think Ed was, it was on the back of that probably, wasn't it?
The dad was a friend of Lee's and that's why he got invited, wasn't it? But yeah, you said right at the end of last week, "Oh, I hope Kira doesn't have a breakdown. Bye." So yeah, it's been building with this. Ed's not going to help, is he? Are we going to get I thought this might have been better with a fiery Emma. Where is Emma? We need her back.
Yeah, I like that line you've just said, "Ed's not going to help." That's just sort of, forever and ever in perpetuity.
Perpetuity.
That's it.
Just clip that and I'll just play it every now and again.
That can be another jingle of ours.
Well, in terms of people turning up and behaving appallingly at children's sporting events, what did we think of the geriatric cricket? Keri, you go.
Geriatric cricket.
Yeah, I can't even say it. I've tried about 7 times today.
There was a lot of geriatric cricket this week, wasn't there? I've even seen someone else using that term, by the way.
It's out there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you've lost all creative control. It's like me with Turbo Island in Bristol, which is a little verge in Stoats Croft, where in the late 90s I branded it Turbo Island because I worked in a pub just round the corner from it because everyone drank Turbo White, and it now is officially a brand. Yeah, it became, and it just caught on. Everyone who drank in the Bell kept calling it that. Luckily, there are a pocket of people around who know that it was me that came up with it.
The glory. It's like Mince Casey. That was mine as well. But anyway,
very good.
That's faded out now. I'm sad.
And from Mince Casey, Menage Abattoir.
Yeah. Very good. We're just like this sort of creative machine, really, aren't we? I just don't know.
We are. We just keep churning it out. Other people mop it up.
Yeah. Thank heavens for them.
Are you delaying the inevitable here, Keri? Because we went on to the geriatric... help me?
Geriatric cricket.
That's the one. And we know who featured very large this week in that particular area of the plot. And you know what that means, don't you?
I do.
Pat chat.
It's Pat Chat.
I absolutely adore. I've got tears. Adore that auto tune.
It's Peter, isn't it, singing? But I think he's
Is it
talking and yeah,
hell?
it is.
Oh, that's
It
even better.
it's him, yeah, he told me, yeah. So and then he
Oh, I
just
thought it was
kind of
Cher.
Do you believe in life after Pat, Keri?
I don't believe in life with Pat at all. In fact, I was so eager. You know, when my notes say Pat and Tony are basically, because bicker about something so pathetic. They hate each other most of the time. And then I thought, hang on a minute. Not that long ago, they had an anniversary, didn't they? Where they had that really sickly moment at the end where they go, oh, you know, after, was it 60 years? I can't remember. Can never remember anything.
It's not 60 because it was his 70th birthday,
They
which would
got together when they were
that would
10.
make Pat a right nonce.
Well, it feels like bloody 60 years listening to them. They're so hateful towards each other, aren't they?
And it all came out this week, didn't it? Via the medium of cricket and the fact that whoever of the two of them caused the other one to get run out, they couldn't really agree. I mean, apparently, I think Pat was put off because Tony was shouting, come one, come one.
I know. I've never heard that, but I'm not wildly interested in cricket. But why don't you just say run once?
Yeah, or stay, or, you know.
Yeah, like she's not bloody sheepdog as well. It sounded like come by.
Yeah, it was like, one man and his dog, all those little kind of weird phrases they used to make on a Sunday afternoon before I had to take my bath.
Yes, one man and his Pat. It's tragic.
Poor old Lee had to show up as arbiter, and I was about halfway through it, and I was like, this is so random. It's lovely to have Lee back.
Yeah.
Why is he having, why is he dealing with this in such a familiar way? And I was like, oh, he's practically related to this twat. Just remembered.
Yeah.
Because Helen's been out of it for so long.
Thank God.
And then Lee's back.
Yeah.
Are you sure, Keri? Hang on, you're sitting on the fence there a bit.
Well, it was nice to hear Lee. So he helped with Henry. He helped with Pat and Tony, didn't he? He's a soothing force, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Great that Helen didn't accompany him at any point during the week. Let's be thankful for small mercies. Another person I was really happy to hear was Alistair. I have a fondness for him.
He's a good egg, isn't he, Alistair? There's not in this. People might say of his ex Shula that she's a good egg as well, and she's a bad egg. She floats or she sinks. I can never remember what as a chef, that's terrible, isn't it?
That's a witch.
Yes. Well, same difference. Pop her in the am.
Yeah. It's if she drowns, she's not a witch. If she floats, she is. So you have to sort of burn her or something.
So yeah, we got Alistair. Alistair came back into it. So yeah, a bit of affection for Alistair, affection for Lee. Lee was even understanding when Tony swung Leonard's lucky bat and got him in his nunchucks. He didn't even lose the plot then, did he?
Well, they cut away, didn't they? So who knows what might have happened? He might have actually really punched Tony in the face. That would have been good. There was a terrible gag in my mind where Pat was saying, oh, Leonard's bringing his lucky bat. And I thought, is it Jill? I did tweet that. I think probably everyone on the tweet along possibly tweeted that as well. Not very original. Yeah, Leonard's doing well, but he wasn't heard.
No, he's got Ray Illingworth's bat, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. I have heard of him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he was out swinging that round. He got the winning run.
Mm-hmm.
So they came back because Tracy just drove onto the cricket pitch, honking her horn and running over most of Darrington, it seemed, didn't it? She allowed to mow down the outside fielder?
Peter Bowker, who I adore, he was tweeting about whether Leonard's bat is some sort of phallic symbol because he's always sort of polishing it and waving it around and beating people with it. What do you reckon?
I don't know. I don't think he's in need of any phallic symbol. I mean, he's an absolute prince, isn't he? He's great behind the wheel. So he's like a Sterling Moss, W.G. Grace, who was light on his feet, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
He ran a doctor's surgery in the area of Bristol where I grew up.
I always think when you say things like that, I just think, oh, here's a joke coming.
No.
Something to do with stumps. I don't know.
His practice was in Kingswood, as far as I know, and you can pass his house in Clifton. And the last time I was in Bristol, I was drinking in the Old England. And
here we go. It's a here we go moment. Kenny Higgs the other day, he said the funniest bit of last week was when I went, here we go. because you went off on one of your, "Oh, this pub I used to work in," or "This festival I went to." They're
I'd end
fascinating, but you've got so many stories, it's
well,
absolutely astounding.
this was only from the last time I was in Bristol.
Oh,
I was having a pint in the Old England, and at the back of there are cricket nets, and W.G. Grace used to practice in the nets at the back of the Old England pub. So
oh my goodness. Well, there you
it's
go, serendipitous interweaving of our lives and the stories of Ambridge.
so. But let's touch back on Alistair being in it because he was peacemaker between Jim and Stella, wasn't he?
Yes, yes. Now that scene with Jim and Stella, that was an odd one, wasn't it? She went, why was she in the shop? Oh, bread, wasn't it? I think. Wasn't anything interesting she was buying, but they introduced each other to each other, didn't they?
By medium of pretending to be bacon.
Oh, God, yes. How did I forget that? And he went, I'm Jim. And she went, I'm Jim and I'm best between two slices of bread.
At one point, I thought, what has she just said? Because she was like, I'm Jim, and I like it best when I'm tucked up between. I was like, what?
And he went, no, I am Jim. I'm not bacon. There were quite a few very surreal points this week. I think Nick Warburton, or was it Warburton's bread that he liked being tucked between? I don't know. I think he'd had a few dodgy quiches this week.
Well, I mean, you say dodgy. One man's dodgy quiche is
Yeah.
another man's party quiche.
Yeah, do you know what I mean, though? It was, there was the weird quiche thing, this strange let's pretend to be food, the kitchen thing that we'll come on to later. But yeah.
I think if you had decided this week to do two things in your life,
Mm.
or maybe if you were a serial stoner and for the very first time you decided to listen to the Archers, you would have come away thinking it's wholly bizarre.
Yes, yeah, indeed. And we're not serial stoners, but I agree with them. It is. I tweeted this evening that which it's not the first time I've tweeted this about. I'm pretty convinced that this is a government experiment.
In
Uh,
what way?
that I'll find the tweet that I wrote. Like in terms of they're watching us morons listening to such drivel constantly and commenting upon it every day of our lives. So it's kind of just a test. We're going to feature in a Channel 4 documentary at some point.
I mean, it's a long time in the making, though, isn't it? Since the early
Yes.
50s.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, but it's a government experiment. I'm more sure of it with each passing week. We're all being tested for gullibility and or moronically continuing to listen and comment on something that's pure gobbledygook. We'll all feature on a Channel 4 documentary soon. So
Kerry,
yeah.
Kerry, we haven't quite got enough listeners who don't listen to the Archers yet to start shitting on the Archers.
Start.
We've got a few. We've got a few people who only listen to us and have no idea who we're talking about, but now
I mean,
live
what
through the Archers vicariously.
what must they think?
I
This
think they're
that we're
starting to.
talking about now.
Well, I tell you what, this might be like. My Aussie relatives
Mm,
came over to England in the late 80s on one of their visits.
mm.
And at that time, Neighbours had just launched. And do you remember there was a bit of a time delay, 8 or 9 months? And pre-internet, every now and again,
What between Australia and England?
between neighbours, not between because they only showed it 3 times a week in Australia. They were showing it every day in England, relentlessly trying to catch up at that point. So spoilers would drift out to the tabs but my family came over, my two cousins came over to visit, Anne and Betty, and they were in Debenhams or somewhere like that. And the first question they'd get asked is like, after someone found out they were Australian, was, what's happening in Neighbours? And they don't watch Neighbours at the time. They don't watch it now. They never did. But they eventually started to, because people would ask so many questions, they knew the names Jim, Helen, and they'd be like, what happened to Jim? And they'd be like, oh yeah, he died. He died in a terrible accident and blah, blah. And one time, I think it was Debenhams, someone called upstairs to the other departments, went, we've got two Aussie girls down here telling us what's happening in Neighbours. And all these people came down to get the goss. And Anne and Betty were just spinning them a yarn.
Brilliant. So it's like pre-Twitter spoilers on stuff that's in America and here and what have you. It's actual people visiting from another country are the source of the spoilers.
And that's what people are doing who listen to us talk about the Archers, yet know not what we speak.
I wonder if it in any way entices them towards actually listening.
I think some people dip in and dip out. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had a few comments like that.
Okay.
Listen, if there's one reason to listen, falsifying bookings for kitchen reps so that both the cold caller can get his commission and Lily won't lose her bonus if he gets the sack.
Recruitment bonus.
Recruitment bonus, that was it, yeah. God.
Oh my
So
Lord,
can this
save me from this hell.
can it end well?
No, it can't end well. It hasn't started well either. It will not end well. And that scene that was supposed to be hilarious wasn't really hilarious, was it? I mean, it was all right until Shula arrived.
Yes.
And she was supposed to be the funniest part.
Oof, no, she wasn't. She just killed it. I thought it was all quite funny where...
It was Fern, Alistair and Jim.
I mean, I don't know, Keri, have you ever artistically followed through?
Probably, yeah. I quite liked the idea of upbeat tilage. That was good.
Yeah, it was one of my favourite genres in the early 90s.
Fern, she was obviously very OTT, wasn't she? Très chic and really smarming up to Jim about, someone with design has really taken care of this. And obviously, probably looking at some shonky old Formica in the background.
I thought she'd stopped off at the tea shop for one of Fallon's quiches because she was like, we can do dreams.
I know. Yeah, and what's your idea? Honestly, dreadful. But would you actually get commission on a visit rather? Surely you'd have to have the sale closed to get any form of commission.
I think there is a little bit of a drip down if the rep just goes out.
Oh, right, okay.
That's considered a success, and then it's on the rep, isn't it?
So do you think the Kitchen World, or whatever the place is called where they work, do you think that they're going to twig when Fern has visited every kitchen in Ambridge?
And everyone who's like even vaguely socially related to Jazzer.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in the house where he lives.
The clues are there, aren't they? For God's sake. Also, I thought he's only been there about 2 days, hasn't he, at the job?
Well, it's Ambridge time. I reckon he's been there a couple of weeks.
Okay, so in Ambridge time, it's sort of equivalent to 5 years or something, is it? He's been fully trained because Lily had that review meeting with him, and at first I didn't recognise it was Lily.
Did you think it was Tam Brownlow?
Yeah, did you?
I did at first, yeah.
It was only when Lily sort of said to Shula, "Oh, I had a meeting with that's Lizzie, isn't it? I had a meeting with
That's you.
That's me. I am Mike Yarwood. You probably don't remember him.
Of course I remember
Do
Mike
you?
Yarwood.
He's go, and this is me, and do a really shit song at the end. Yeah, the review meeting though, like you wouldn't be having that. He hasn't even been trained yet. Why are you angry with this guy because he's not making sales? He's literally just sort of started.
And he seems to, apparently he's doing his Denham Ruddock voice, which was he role played as being a salesman anyway when he got Tracy in the shit at Grey Gables. So he's obviously
Tracy
doing that. No, because Oliver got there just in time.
Yeah, good. Okay, we wouldn't want that.
But he thinks that it's just chatting to people. And then Lily kind of said, well, have you spoke about kitchens? And he's like, oh, sometimes we get onto it.
Oh, yeah, because he said people out there are lonely. You can just imagine him just waffling on about nonsense. But, sometimes you can get sales like that, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a shoo-in for the Samaritans, isn't he?
I don't think he's that depressed. I am, listening to this shite. I've also forgot, I know this isn't anything to do with what we're talking about, but the geriatric cricket related, the ashes.
Oh, yeah, burnt tea cake, isn't it?
In a mustard tin.
It'd been much better if it was Burt Fry.
In a mustard tin.
Yeah.
A really giant mustard tin.
They didn't burn him.
Yeah, it's just... yeah. What's the other version of not cremation? What do they do when you're in embalmed? That's it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in a mustard tin. Yeah,
that's what Trevor would want. Give him a good talking point, wouldn't it?
Yes. Oh yeah, kitchen nightmares.
Yeah, Shula came in and kind of, as you say,
Chichester, live here, my kitchen. Yeah, come on, love, cotton on.
Yeah, then she just turned it into a kind of a vessel to attack Alistair and Jim for anything they might have done over the years to upset her.
Yeah, what was that? What on earth was that story where she went, "Oh, he couldn't even book us a restaurant. He said it was the one with the pot plant in the window, so we sat next to the wrong pot plant."
Yeah, and there was that moment straight afterwards. She went, and sorry, fern? And I thought Alistair was going to go, no, pot plant. I don't know if that was on purpose that they put that in there, but
I bet it bloody wasn't.
he didn't.
They're not as good as you, Matthew.
I am available. But she says she's sick of being surprised. I don't know. The feeling's long been mutual, Shula. You've been gone a while.
Oh dear. Who was it who said she was formidable? Was it Jim? Oh, if it wasn't for Shula, yeah, walking in, I would have bought a kitchen. Would you? That's very strange.
Speaking of all things Jazzer related, Tracy and Chelsea went for the same job. I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting sold this miserable tale of Tracy, isn't it? Gary's off now, despite the fact that he was never there recently, and he's gone to work in the docks somewhere on the East Coast.
Harwich.
Which, for some reason, Chelsea is imagining he's gone to be in Pirates of Penzance.
Oh yeah,
HMS Pinafore or something.
Yeah, because she sort of went, "What? He's gone to Wales?"
Yeah. No, it's not Gilbert Sullivan.
I do quite enjoy Chelsea. She's quite hysterical, isn't she? A lot of the time.
Positive this week as well, wasn't she? She doesn't see herself as surly, which Tracy said cost her job at Lower Loxley back in the days.
Oh, when Tracy was practicing, I am committed. What am I committed to? I can't remember. Oh, that's it. I'm committed to wiping.
She's had time enough to now decide that Tam Brownlow was a cow, which I thought was quite good. Because at the time I was like, did Tam Brownlow do something wrong? She never said, because she said immediately after the interview, no, she was nice.
Yeah.
It was just I panicked. But now she's like, that fucking
Yeah.
now I've slept on it. I'm going to go around there and her eyes and on her brain.
Hey. Oh, have we heard of Trent before?
Trent, he's the manager at Lower Loxley, food and beverage or front of house manager.
Yeah, but have we heard of him before? You haven't answered the question.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Keri. Jesus Christ. Is the game finished?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I've switched. It's a black screen next to me now. I'm not looking at red and white failures anymore.
Have we heard of him before? I don't think so. There was another chap that we used to hear of a little bit helping out at Lower Loxley, but I don't think that was Trent. And then he left, didn't it? No, that person left, and that was why Lily had to help out for a bit. So no, we haven't heard from him before. But he's going to be a mentor or a Trentor, if you will.
Yeah. Why? For wiping tables?
He's going to mentor Freddie, isn't he?
Oh, shit. I've missed that. Sorry.
Approachable, fair, tough, authoritative. Because there was a moment where Lily said to Freddie, this was tonight, what were you talking to Mum about? And he said, he basically did that kind of sibling thing, none of your business. And she said, come on, tell me. And he said, no, because if I tell you, you'll just, he said,
laugh
you'll diss.
Or whatever. Oh, that was it. Yeah.
And I think it was funny because he had that conversation with Tracy on Wednesday and she turned on him hella quick, didn't she? Which was like, oh yeah, really bad for you with the big house. And then he was like, well, it was meant to be my dad looking after all of this. Until, like, my uncle pushed him off the roof.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Get your bloody play that card. She's not wrong, is she?
No, she's not wrong, but it's not technically Freddie's fault, is it?
It's not Freddie's fault, but he has no idea what it's like to be at her end of things. Properly no idea. And I know, yes, Nigel died, but he's living in this amazing place that he's...
Heaven?
They did yeah. They did make it up, didn't they? Said, like, right, let's agree that we're both on different paths, and I hope yours leads somewhere nice.
Yeah, and we find out in the end that Chelsea gets the job, probably because she's cheaper.
Well, definitely, that's what Freddie said, didn't he?
And then there was that whole scene. I don't know. I'm going to kind of steer slightly clear of this one, where it turned out that Lily was saying, "You're quite right. You don't want to be objectified in a short skirt," and she was like, "No. I want it shorter."
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I need my buttons undone because, I pass out if I'm restricted.
Yeah, this What was happening there with all of that? There's been a couple of bits of sort of body shaming has been mentioned and objectification. Lily went into full-on feminist lecturing mode somehow, didn't she, at this uniform business?
It seemed to me to just let Freddie prove that he at least thinks that he was approachable and
God.
authoritative and fair. And Lily was like, she's literally just talked you into asking Trent if she can wear shorter skirts and undo buttons in the restaurant, Freddie.
Yeah, he's a fool, isn't he? When he said, don't speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And he said, well, you sound just like a 5-year-old. So he always does, doesn't he? I do have a weird fondness for him though as well.
No, I like
Do
both of
you?
them actually.
Yeah.
Him and Lily, I like them.
Mm.
I mean, it was a little bit strange when he was like, "Bunny, come here, Bunny,"
Oh yeah, yeah.
running, across the green. But apart from that,
And his DJing business, I can't imagine how many DJing gigs he's actually got. He talks about it as if it's something that's happening all the time. Where?
no, I thought exactly the same thing. And Lily, I felt, was biting her tongue at that point because he'd already said, "Oh, you'll just diss it if I tell you." So yeah, it's a little bit, I don't want to get into
Mm.
the arguments of things being not quite true to life in the Archers. But yeah, where are all these
Oh.
gigs around there? Because he was very wide-eyed when Rory was
Mm.
describing clubs
Yeah.
in London. It was like, well, London's not that far away. If you're a DJ, you might actually get some
Yeah, that's true.
gigs, even if it's
Yeah.
like the King's Head in Fulham or something like that. You might get it.
Yeah. See, that's me. I was doing the reverse. I was thinking, well, where in Borsetshire is he getting these gigs? But, you know,
Well, I think that's what we're led to believe, but he might
perhaps,
be getting gigs further afield.
yeah, with his bubble machine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I told you, he'll be uptown, he'll be upstairs at the social club in Felpersham,
Mm.
fading Agadoo down and just went, how about them Felpersham Town then? And then turning it back. I don't know why I've suddenly turned
Yeah.
him into a Bristolian.
Felpershire massive. I did think I had a charitable moment earlier today. I wrote it in my diary.
Okay.
Mark the occasion. But I did think it must be actually quite hard to come up with storylines for so many years.
I'd give it a go.
Yeah, I know. And then I did sort of cross it out with my Sharpie and thought, no, not that doesn't excuse this sort of dross, does it really?
Well, they do have the longer game storylines, don't they? And
True.
I think in terms of the old Archer's working office, like those used to go around the wall on lines, like almost like a
Mm.
tube map, and saying like this is going to happen at some point, and this will
Yeah.
happen. And it's all about filling in those little spaces and finding out how you're going to connect those dots. So I thought that would be quite fascinating to actually feel like you have control over these people and do these things
Yeah.
to them.
So it's a bit like Tony with his little model train set, isn't it? That's what the scriptwriters and editor are doing, playing God.
Yeah, when he's down there making the Earl of St. Germans go full pedal to the metal.
But it did make me wonder. I thought, well, what would I be making these people do? Well, for a start, I wouldn't have the people that have been in it this week in it very much at the moment.
Well, you could, but you could make it a
Mm.
week of like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, what was that other excellent program? The Korean one.
Squid Game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh God, Matthew, you would love it. I watched it with the kids not that long ago in a big binge.
In some ways, I feel like I've seen it because most of my 11 and 12-year-old students have, and they were acting it out for the first half of the semester every time we had a break in the class.
Oh, I reckon you'd like it.
So yeah, maybe we could have all of the characters from this week, but they all have to off each other.
Yeah, stuff pudding competitions. Get some sort of Squid Games thing going on with this lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where they all wear sort of coloured tracksuits and have to sort of run towards very precarious situations and perhaps have their heads chopped off.
Okay. Well, I mean, if anyone from the Beeb is listening, I think both Keri and I we've volunteered our services. Well, that suggests we do it for free. We've offered our services, and
We're quite cheap.
yeah, if you're interested, give us a buzz.
Shall we have an advert?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Okay, guys. We have got another segment on the show, and this probably isn't going to be a regular segment, but it's just something that needs saying.
Oh God.
It's called Kid Creole Correction Corner. So there is a reason. A lot of people got in touch last
Mm.
week because there was a chat. Kid Creole and the Coconuts came up. Peter Powell said.
You're obsessed.
Peter Fickling said that he gave away
He has
Peter
got lovely
Powell's.
dimples.
Yeah, he gave away Peter Powell's platinum playlist to people for Christmas because Peter Powell left them behind. We might have a Peter Powell correction corner next week on the back of that, or litigious corner. So yeah, we were talking about Kid Creole and the Coconuts, and I said that Kid Creole and the Coconuts had gone down for murder of a homeless man, and of course he hadn't. It was the Kid Creole, former. He was with Grandmaster Flash, wasn't he? He's a hip
Yeah.
hop rapper. And I did read the actual article, so I did name the correct person who'd gone down, and it was not Auguste Darnell, who is Kid
Yeah.
Creole and the Coconuts. So
Because
and apparently
the baddie's got 2 D's in his kid.
yeah, and apparently Kid Creole and the Coconuts fame has been out there saying it wasn't me. Like there's loads of articles with him saying I'm not that guy. The other thing that happened that didn't make the cut last week was I incorrectly said that Kid Creole and the Coconuts had a hit with Amy, I'm Not Your Daddy, which is incorrect. That's just something Alan likes to sing.
Oh, very good, Matthew.
So and I don't think. I mean, as I said to Peter today, we may still have to come up with one of those for Enya. Her lawyers never got in touch after Peter claimed she lived as a hermit surrounded by loads of scony poos in jars in an attic. But you know, you might hear this somewhere.
Scony poos in jars. Is that what Fallon put in the quiche?
It could be.
Enya's shit. Is that it? Oh, what is it going to be? Will we ever find out?
No, I don't think so. And it's incredibly disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. And now is she going to have to make them all the time because Jill thought they were bloody marvellous and everyone scoffed them and wants more of them.
Maybe it'll all be revealed on Pudding Pandemonium Day. Whatever the fuck they're calling that ridiculous thing.
When is that sodding thing?
It's on the bank holiday.
Oh, piss off.
Yeah.
What, the Queen's bank holiday thing?
Oh, God, I don't know. I don't know what goes on over there anymore. You guys are having a week off, aren't you?
Yeah, they're moving the May bank holiday Monday, which would have been the 30th. They're moving that one to the Thursday, and we're having a Friday as well. So we've got the Thursday, Friday. In fact, aren't we doing something that at that point? That's the point. Yeah, that's it. The Archers goes to Monday to Friday episodes then, doesn't it?
I got a little bit excited this week because they put out that the Archers Twitter account put out that what's your favourite cliffhanger, and they had the Sopranos ending, a few other things. I reckon the first Friday is going to have a humdinger of a cliffhanger.
What to do with puddings?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah. I suppose it would mark the whole return thing, wouldn't it, to the full episodes?
Yeah, Rob's going to show up with a
massive blancmange.
Yeah.
And smother Helen with it and steal Henry. Oh, no, it's not Henry he wants, is it? It's the other one.
Well, Henry's going to be Lord Chief Justice of Puddings, isn't he?
Oh.
According to Ed. So,
yeah.
But he's actually going to be the chair, which I thought was a bit sad. Everyone's going to have to sit on him.
I'd quite like to sit on him.
And on that note, Keri, if people want to get in touch on Twitter, how do they do that?
Yes, do come to Twitter and play with us at the Cider Shed Pod. And we had a bit of a feisty time of it this past week. Don't know whether I've mentioned it, it's too late now.
It wasn't always about the Archers this week, was it? It was about other things.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sometimes it was about other realms within the podcast world as well. We got asked a lot of questions this week.
We did get asked a lot of questions.
Things that almost no longer concern us.
Well, yeah, they are concerning. But yeah, we had quite a lively time of it. But anyway, apart from that, it's good fun there, and please come and join us.
Yeah, likewise, come and find us on Instagram. We're the same handle there, at the Cider Shed Pod, and we have an ever-growing Facebook page called the Cider Shed Podcast, and that's a Facebook group. And there is an email as well if you want to get in touch with crazy new pudding recipes. Hello@thecidershed all.com. So, Keri,
Mm.
how are you going to handle the rest of the evening? You've crammed the Archers, you've watched the North London Derby. It didn't end up how you wanted it, or how I wanted it, actually. It would have worked out nicely for me. What's the rest of the evening hold?
I'm going to eat an entire raw lamb.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
The Keri Warby Slam Apology Corner.
Will never, ever happen. Anyway, see you next week, you lovely lot.
See everyone. Take care. Bye.